This is a different film because I felt that I was watching those movies that I used to watch on Sundays on back in the 90s. When people with no skills suddenly they want to be involved in a situation. I remember Toy Soldiers. And is any different mindset? You have been in many action films. Your mindset shift to more physical and different faces, a different expression when you are in an action movie or facing an action film or an action sequence. And Michael, how do you work with actors when you have to express them your vision about what you're trying to explain about the action sequence, and at the end have this message delivered to the audience?
Oh, well, first, I think every single movie is different, even though if it's action movies, they're very different. The directors are very different. The approach is different. And then it's terrible because when I see myself doing action, I make very weird faces. So it's not sexy, not appealing, not nothing. But it's definitely a lot of fun, and I love action. That's one of my forte. I love action, and I love it when they let me do a little bit more. Because that's the fun part of it. So yeah, there you go.
In an action sequence, I think this script was great because each action sequence had its own sort of personality. So the script already gave me a lot to work with in terms of each one doing something different, not only for the story, but also visually adding something, whether or not it's sand or tear gas or night vision. There's already something big and interesting to work with in terms of the lack of light or no light or something interesting with the light to work with. And I think in terms of working with the actors, I think you got to let them inside of your head. So it's a bit of storyboarding, it's a bit of shot mapping so they know exactly what I'm trying to accomplish. And then really within the parameters, giving them the freedom to put their own bits into that. So it's about being organized and about communicating, but also giving them the freedom within those concepts to express themselves. So it's a bit of a concoction for sure.
I remember having a conversation with a group of journalist friends like a couple of years ago about films in Hollywood that portrayed the narco culture. How do you see this film outstanding out of this cliche of the narco culture, the Hollywood or the North America want to express in their films?
Oh my God. Well, it's just hard, as a Mexican, this all the cartel things and the sicarios and all that, because it's unfortunately part of my culture, and we cannot just say it is not happening. It happens, and they're there. So, and they're gonna be part of many movies. And
Hmm.
still, and I think that it's just a different approach, and the approach that this movie it gave was the family thing, which I think it's very accurate, and it's a different approach for what any other movies that I've seen. It's just about and talking about carteles.
Hmm.
They don't talk about much about their families and how they feel about it and how strong they become because they're families. So I like that about this one.
Yeah, I thought there was something interesting just to go off what Kate was saying about sort of the parallels between the DEA family and the cartel
Hmm.
family and the collision course that both of those are on and the cost on both sides of what that war between the two parties does to the families between it. So I thought the script did a great job already of sort of trying to balance that or find some humanity on both sides of that story, which are sometimes missing a lot in these sort of films.
How important is having that kind of script that let you play with it? I don't know what kind of levers you have, Michael, to create, or what kind of liberty Kate you have to create around your characters, or one kind of recommendation, or you just strict by the book in what the script says.
No, I think well, my experience with Michael, he's very open, and he was very open with I think with all of us, and to play a little bit, and also this kind of movies gives you that leverage, that part that you can actually play a little bit. We don't go totally off the script, but he's that kind of director, and gives you a little bit to play with and to improv sometimes. And then, with action, there's a lot of improv too. There's things that happens that, of course, it's not on the paper because it's different when you're doing the action. But he's that kind of director. No, it was really
Yeah.
fun and good. Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Kate. I mean, I think it's important that I try to be as organized as possible, and it's so that we're not wasting time on the floor, sort of figuring out what the next shot is. I'd rather be using that time on the floor because it's really so valuable. It's the biggest commodity on a film set is time, is to let the actors play a little bit. And if they can get one other take, and if they can go off book a little bit or off page a little bit, I find it's great for the freshness of the movie. It allows the characters or the actors to put a little bit of their own character into the film a bit, and it just sort of elevates everything. It's also a lot more fun, and it's all about energy, right? Like in terms of adding that sort of spontaneity into the film, you can kind of feel it in the DNA of the film if you approach it that way. But you really have to be organized to give it that time because it gets hoovered up quite quickly if you're wasting that time doing other things.
No, and having that amazing cast that you have with Kate, with Dave, with Bobby Cannavale, it's a great cast.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the balance, it's about picking your collaborators as well, about finding the right DP who understands what you're trying to do and isn't eating up that time. It's really about giving them the time to play a little bit, and nothing's worse than waiting around for a setup and then only having a minute to shoot the actual scene. That feels like the cart's pulling the horse a little bit. So I try to design everything with the actors in mind to really to get as much time as they can in front of that lens and to give them that time to play a little bit, because I think that's where the magic comes from. We already were working with a great script, and if they can top it. I mean, I've done movies that are completely improvised. That wasn't this movie at all, but I think that spirit can sort of infiltrate into this and add a bit more energy.
Hey, Michael, thank you for your time. I really
Thank you.
had fun watching that movie. I wish
Great.
to watch it with my dad because I know he loves action movies. They're really entertaining. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, Ruben.
Bye, Kate. Un placer
Thank you,
verte.
Ruben.